Welcome back to the channel where we reveal the secrets hidden in your spare change and uncover the incredible stories behind ordinary coins, rarest coins. Today's spotlight is on a coin that millions of people have touched, tossed in a jar, or forgotten about in drawers and glove boxes. We're talking about the 1966 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like any other 1-cent coin, but as you're about to learn, some of these pennies are anything but ordinary. In fact, one rare version of the 1966 Lincoln cent has been reported to be worth as much as $1.7 million. That's right, $1.7 million for a penny. Sounds hard to believe, but stick with me because the truth behind this coin might just make you start digging through your old pocket change. In this video, we'll explore the full history of the 1966 penny, what makes it unique, the minting mystery that created a fortune, and what details you should be looking for to spot one of these extremely rare and valuable coins. Let's jump in. The story behind the Lincoln penny and why the Lincoln penny has one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coin history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Victor David Brenner designed the obverse, or front, of the coin with Lincoln's iconic portrait. The reverse originally featured wheat stalks. But in 1959, the design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial to commemorate 150 years since Lincoln's birth. That reverse design was still in place in 1966, so the penny that year shows the Lincoln Memorial on the back and Lincoln's bust on the front. The 1966 penny was made during a unique period in American coinage history. The country was recovering from a nationwide coin shortage, and the U.S. Mint took unusual steps to manage coin production and distribution. What made 1966 a different year for coins in the mid-1960s? The U.S. Mint stopped placing mint marks on coins in order to discourage collectors from hoarding new issues. This was especially important in 1966, when no U.S. coin, not even those made in Denver or San Francisco, carried a mint mark. So all 1966 pennies look like they were minted in Philadelphia, even though they may not have been. This move was meant to prevent panic and allow the mint to keep up with demand. But as often happens, when something unusual happens at the mint, collectors take notice. While billions of 1966 Lincoln pennies were produced, a few of them stand out. And that's where the real story begins. The rare 1966 penny worth $1.7 million. So how can a coin with no mint mark and a face value of just 1 cent possibly be worth $1.7 million? It all comes down to a rare minting error, a coin struck on the wrong metal. In numismatics, this is known as an off-metal error. These kinds of mistakes are incredibly rare because the mint has strict processes to ensure the right planchet, or coin blank, is used for the right denomination. But once in a while, a coin slips through the cracks. One such 1966 penny was found to have been struck on a silver dime planchet. That means instead of being minted on the typical copper-based planchet used for pennies, it was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for a silver dime. This created a Lincoln penny that was smaller, lighter, and silver in color. When tested, the coin showed the composition matched that of a 90% silver dime. Even more amazing, the coin was fully struck and in mint condition. Because of its unique composition, error, and rarity, collectors placed an estimated value of up to $1.7 million on this one-of-a-kind penny. It's considered one of the most legendary U.S. coin errors ever discovered. What to look for in your 1966 pennies now that you know the million-dollar version is out there? Here's what you should be looking for in your own 1966 pennies. First, check the color and weight. A normal 1966 penny should have a reddish copper appearance and weigh about 3.11 grams. If your penny looks silver or gray or feels lighter than normal, it could be struck on a dime planchet or even another foreign metal blank. Second, look closely at the edges. A penny struck on a dime planchet will usually have a slightly smaller diameter, and the edge might appear more defined or reeded, depending on the blank used. Third, examine the strike. If any parts of the design seem cut off, for example, if the word Liberty or the date appears pushed too close to the rim, that could be a sign the coin was struck on a smaller planchet. Finally, check for unusual errors. Die cracks, doubling of the letters or numbers, or off-center strikes can all increase the value of your coin, even if it's not the million-dollar variety. Other valuable 1966 pennies, even if you don't have the silver dime error penny, Many 1966 Lincoln cents can still be valuable depending on condition and strike quality. A standard 1966 penny in mint state condition, meaning it was never circulated and has no worth, can be worth $10 to $20. A high-grade example certified as MS-66 or MS-67 by a top grading service can fetch $100 or more. Some 1966 pennies show signs of doubling, especially on the obverse side in the date or lettering. These are called double-die errors and are popular with collectors. A confirmed double-die penny from 1966 in high grade could be worth several $100s depending on demand. What to do if you think you have a rare PENNY? If you think you've found something special, here are the steps to take first. Never clean the coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and destroy its value. Next, weigh the coin with a digital scale. If it weighs less than 3 grams or has a silver color, it might be worth further investigation. Then, store the coin in a plastic holder or protective sleeve to avoid further damage. Finally, have it evaluated by a professional coin dealer or send it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will verify the coin's authenticity, condition, and market value. Wrapping up, the 1966 Lincoln penny is more than just an old piece of change. It's a piece of American history struck during a time of change at the U.S. Mint. While most of these coins are worth only face value, a few contain rare and mysterious errors that make them some of the most valuable coins in the world. One of those coins, struck on a silver planchet, with all the right details and near-perfect condition, has reached an estimated value of $1.7 million. And it all started with a simple mistake at the mint.so. Before you toss that penny into the change jar, take a closer look. The next rare treasure could be sitting right in your hands. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more stories of rare coins, hidden wealth, and everyday items that turn out to be priceless. Drop a comment below if you've ever come across a strange or valuable coin. Who knows, your story might be featured in a future video. Until next time, happy collecting and keep checking your change. One small coin could change your life. Let me know if you want this adapted into a short-form version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or split into parts for a video series. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover rare treasures and surprising stories hiding in plain rarest coins. Today's episode might just change the way you look at the pennies in your pocket, because we're diving into the incredible story of the 1973 Lincoln penny, yes, the humble 1-cent coin, and how one of these seemingly ordinary coins shocked collectors by reaching a staggering value of $1.3 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But there's a lot more behind this coin than meets the eye. So stay tuned because we're going to break down its history, how to identify one, why it's so valuable, and whether you might have one sitting at home. Let's jump in. The history of the Lincoln penny first. Let's rewind a bit and talk about the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent has been in production since 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just any person, but one of America's most respected presidents. Over the years, the design has changed only slightly. The original reverse featured wheat ears, which was later replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial to mark the 150th anniversary of his birth. In 2009, there were even 4 special reverse designs celebrating different phases of Lincoln's life, but the 1973 Lincoln penny sits in an interesting period. It was a time of inflation, rising metal costs, and changes in U.S. mint production. And this is exactly where things start to get interesting. The 1973 penny, common coin or hidden treasure. Now, let's talk about the 1973 penny specifically. The standard 1973 Lincoln penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can tell by looking at the mint mark just under the date. No mark means it was made in Philadelphia, a D means Denver, and an S stands for San Francisco. Hundreds of millions were made. So how could one be worth over $1 million? Here's the secret: errors and unique variations. The $1.30 million penny, how's it possible? So where does this $1.3 million figure come from? According to trusted coin experts and auction records, a 1973 Lincoln penny struck in aluminum, rather than the usual copper, created a sensation when it surfaced. Here's the backstory. In the early 1970s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with cheaper metals due to rising copper prices. They minted a small batch of experimental aluminum cents in 1973, planning to potentially change the composition of the coin. But the idea was scrapped, and most of these aluminum pennies were recalled and destroyed. However, at least one aluminum 1973 penny somehow survived and ended up outside the mint. When it was discovered, it caused a massive stir in the numismatic world. Because of its rarity, experimental status, and legal questions surrounding it, the coin became a legend. It was estimated to be worth up to $1.3 million, and while there's some debate about its ownership and legality, there's no doubt this is one of the most valuable pennies in U.S. history. What makes a penny valuable? Now, what should you be looking for if you're going through your own coin collection? First, check the date and mint mark. Then look for errors. Some of the most valuable pennies are error coins, double dies, off-center strikes, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet. Here are some key things to watch for. A 1973 penny that looks much lighter than normal. It could be made from aluminum. A coin with no mint mark from San Francisco, which is extremely rare. A double die obverse, where the lettering appears doubled off. Metal errors, where the penny was accidentally struck on a dime or nickel planchet. Even if you don't find $1 million penny, there are many 1973 error coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and rarity. How to tell if you have a valuable penny if you find something that looks odd. The next step is to get it appraised. Don't clean it. Cleaning can actually lower the value. Put it in a protective holder and take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll assess its authenticity, grade, and market value. Graded coins almost always fetch higher prices at auction because they come with trusted verification. Why coins like this matter? You might be wondering why anyone would pay over $1 million for a penny. Well, it's not just about the face value. It's about history, rarity, and the story behind the coin. Collectors are drawn to coins like the 1973 aluminum penny because it represents a moment in time. A decision that was almost made but never fully carried out. It's a piece of what could have been. And for serious collectors, that kind of rarity is priceless. Wrapping up so the next time you get a handful of change, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking penny could be worth far more than you think. The 1973 Lincoln penny proves that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest surprises. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible coin stories, tips on spotting valuable collectibles, and updates on recent finds. And if you think you might have a rare penny in your collection, drop a comment below. You never know who might help you solve the mystery. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a version with voiceover cues, timestamps, or formatted for subtitles or TikTok-style shorts. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where pocket change becomes treasure and where history comes alive in the palm of your hand. In today's video, we're unlocking the mystery behind a coin that most of us have probably spent without thinking twice. We're talking about the 1991 Lincoln penny. And believe it or not, one of these coins has been valued at up to $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin from 1991 could be worth over $1 million. In this video, we're going to dive into the fascinating history of the Lincoln penny, explore the rare varieties of the 1991 issue, explain what makes some of them incredibly valuable, and show you exactly what to look for in your own collection or even in your pocket change. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. The legacy of the Lincoln penny. To understand why the 1991 penny could be worth so much, we need to appreciate the legacy of the Lincoln cent. First introduced in 1909, the Lincoln penny replaced the Indian head cent and marked the first time a U.S. coin featured a real person. That person, of course, was President Abraham Lincoln, whose image was chosen to commemorate his 100th birthday. Over the years, the Lincoln penny has seen a few design changes. The front of the coin, known as the obverse, has remained mostly the same, featuring Lincoln's bust. The back, or reverse, originally had the wheat ears design, then the Lincoln Memorial from 1959 to 2008, and later transitioned to other designs in 2009 to mark Lincoln's bicentennial. By 1991. The penny was firmly established as a copper-plated zinc coin. The copper content was minimal compared to earlier years, as the mint had switched away from solid bronze in 1982 due to rising copper prices. This change in composition opened the door to a number of rare minting errors, and those are where things get very interesting. 1991 penny basics. What most people have, most 1991 pennies were struck in huge quantities. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6 billion that year, while the Denver Mint struck more than 4.6 billion. That makes the average 1991 penny worth just 1 cent, or maybe a few cents more if it's in uncirculated condition. But here's where collectors start paying attention. It's not the common pennies that grab the headlines. It's the rare ones, the errors, the off-metal strikes, the variations that were never meant to happen. The million-dollar mystery, the rare 1991 PENNY. So how does a coin that was mass-produced suddenly become worth over $1 million? One extremely rare 1991 Lincoln penny surfaced that was believed to have been struck on a bronze planchet, the same metal composition used before 1982. That's a big deal, because by 1991, the mint was no longer supposed to be using that type of metal. Somehow, a leftover blank from years earlier got fed into the machine and was stamped with a 1991 date. This kind of error is known as an off-metal strike, and it is exceptionally rare. When experts verified the coin's weight, metal composition, and strike details, they confirmed that it was indeed a bronze 1991 penny, something that officially shouldn't exist. Now here's the shocker. Because of its uniqueness and the fact that it's essentially a one-of-a-kind coin, some collectors have placed its value as high as $1.2 million. That's not a typo. $1.2 million for a penny. What makes it so valuable? Let's break down exactly what makes this coin so valuable. First, rarity. We're talking about possibly the only known example of its kind. In the world of coin collecting, rarity drives price more than anything else. Second, mint error. An off-metal strike like this shouldn't happen under normal conditions. That makes it a mistake, but a highly collectible and prized one. Third, demand. Collectors love anomalies. Anything that defies the rules of minting history becomes a grail item for those who chase rare coins. Combine all three, rarity, error, and demand, and you get explosive value. Other valuable 1991 pennies look for even if you don't find the million-dollar version. There are other 1991 Lincoln pennies that can still fetch a good price. Some of the most valuable include double die obverse pennies, where the date or lettering appears double due to a misaligned die off-center strikes, where the coin is stamped partially off the edge, creating a unique visual effect. Wrong planchet errors, where the penny is accidentally struck on a foreign coin blank or another denomination. High-grade uncirculated examples, coins that have never been used and are preserved in perfect condition, especially those graded MS67 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC. Some of these coins can be worth anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, depending on condition and rarity. How to check your 1991 penny shares. How to examine your 1991 pennies for hidden value. Start by weighing the coin. A standard copper-plated zinc penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours weighs closer to 3.1 grams, you might be holding a rare bronze version. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect for doubling on the date, mint mark, or lettering. Check for off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or any unusual design flaws. If you suspect you have something rare, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can reduce its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service. Wrapping up, treasure in your pocket. The 1991 Lincoln penny proves that sometimes life's most valuable things come in the smallest packages. While most are worth just a cent, a few rare versions, like the off-metal bronze strike, can be worth hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. The next time you get change at the grocery store or clean out your coin jar at home, take a moment to look a little closer. That 1-cent coin could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. If you found this video helpful or fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on rare coins, hidden treasures, and the amazing stories behind everyday money. And don't forget to leave a comment if you've ever found a rare penny or have questions about your own coin collection. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be worth a fortune. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version for YouTube Shorts or TikTok, or if you want visuals or voiceover timing built into this script. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today we're diving into a coin that most people overlook, but a rare version of it has stunned collectors and even made headlines. We're talking about the 1975 Lincoln penny. Yes, the small copper coin that probably passed through your hands without a second thought could actually be worth up to $1.4 million under the right circumstances. That's right. $1.4 million for a penny minted in Denver in 1975. You might be wondering how that's even possible. So in this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about the 1975 D penny, including its history, how many were made, what makes some of them so valuable, and how you can tell if you're holding a rare and valuable version. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also show you exactly what to look for and how to protect your find if you're lucky enough to come across one. A quick look back at the Lincoln pin and why to understand the true value behind this coin. We have to look at the broader history of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was designed by Victor David Brenner and marked the first time a real person was featured on a circulating U.S. coin. The original wheat reverse design was replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial design, which was in use during the time the 1975 D penny was minted. By the 1970s, the composition of the penny had changed from the traditional bronze to a cheaper copper-plated zinc alloy due to rising metal prices. However, in 1975, the coins were still being made with a bronze composition, which consisted of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. That year, billions of pennies were minted across various locations. But the 1975 D penny from the Denver Mint holds a special mystery. The 1975 D Lincoln penny, a common coin with an uncommon secretin. 1975, the Denver Mint struck over 4.5 billion Lincoln pennies. With so many made, it might seem impossible for any single coin to be worth more than a cent. But the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. And when it comes to the 1975 D penny, a single mistake during production could turn a common coin into a $1 million rarity. According to reports and auction speculation, one particular 1975 D Lincoln penny surfaced that was unlike any other. It was believed to have been struck on a silver-colored planchet that was never intended for use with the Lincoln cent. This type of mistake is known as an off-metal error. It happens when a blank metal disc meant for another type of coin accidentally ends up in the penny press and gets stamped with the Lincoln cent design. That error, paired with its uncirculated condition and incredible rarity, is what led experts and collectors to value this specific coin at up to $1.4 million. Not only is it unique, but it's also a mystery. No one is completely certain how it came to be, but one thing is clear. It exists, and it's worth a fortune. What makes a 1975 D penny meaningful? Now you're probably wondering what to look for in your own change or coin collection. Here are a few key factors that can make a 1975 D penny extremely valuable. First, rarity. If a coin was struck in error or in a way that was never intended by the mint, it can become incredibly rare. The fewer of these coins that exist, the more valuable they become. Second, the metal. A normal 1975 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams because it's made of bronze. But if your coin is significantly lighter or has a different color or tone, it could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. That's exactly what collectors believe happened with the $1 million version. Third, condition. Coin collectors and dealers use a grading scale to determine a coin's quality. Coins in uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS66 or higher, are worth much more than worn or damaged ones. A perfect example of a rare error in top condition can fetch huge sums at auction. Fourth, any signs of doubling or misprints. If your coin has doubled letters, numbers, or is struck off-center, these are known as mint errors and can also increase the value dramatically. How to check if you have a valuable 1975 D penny? Let's talk about what you should do if you want to check your pennies for value. First, use a digital scale to weigh the coin. A typical 1975 D penny should weigh around 3.11 grams. If your penny weighs more or less than that, it might be struck on the wrong metal, which is a strong sign of a rare variety. Second, examine the coin closely under a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in the date or lettering. Also check for any unusual surfaces, colors, or signs that the coin looks different from others of the same year. Third, listen to the sound. This might sound strange, but coins struck on different metals have a slightly different ring when tapped gently. If it sounds different than other pennies, it could be worth a closer inspection. And most importantly, never clean your coin. Cleaning can ruin its surface and drastically reduce its value. If you think you have something rare, place the coin in a protective holder and take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation. Other 1975 D pennies worth, even if you don't have the $1 million version. There are other valuable 1975 D Lincoln pennies out there. For example, pennies with visible doubling on the obverse, especially on the date or liberty, can sell for several $100s depending on condition. Coins with off-center strikes, die cracks, or repunched mint marks are also collectible and can be worth anywhere from $20 to several hundred. A brilliant red 1975 D penny in mint state condition, especially one graded MS67 or higher, could easily bring in a few $100s at auction. While not every 1975 D penny is a jackpot, some of them are definitely worth taking a second look. Closing to HS, the 1975 D Lincoln penny proves that something as small and ordinary as a coin can carry incredible stories, hidden value, and even life-changing potential. Most people would never think twice about a penny, but history shows us that a small minting error, a rare composition, or an unusual strike can turn a 1-cent piece into a $1 million treasure. So check your change. Search your old coin jars. You never know what could be sitting there, waiting to be discovered. A coin worth $1.4 million might not just belong in a museum. It might be sitting in your own pocket. That if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves coins or collectibles. And drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or want help identifying something in your collection. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be priceless. Let me know if you'd like this script reformatted for voiceover timing, split into segments for a series, or adapted for short-form content like YouTube Shorts or TikTok.